Technology. Sustainable technology. So my name is Rich Turnbull.
Sherry, right?
Pardon me?
You already sent to give the report to Sherry, right?
We just beamed it to her already. My name is Rich Turnbull. I'm in the History of Art department. And Table 4's discussion started off talking quite a bit about the mission statement rather than the vision statement, although we certainly got to that as well. And one of the things that we were interested in, a little bit dismayed by, is the fact that the mission statement in the revised version is exactly 2 sentences long. And we were looking at the model of the current mission statement with its various, I think, very attractively phrased bullet points, which really incorporate and encapsulate a lot of what the college is about. And we were wondering why those aren't in the current mission statement. We also thought that the mission statement really needs to be able to stand alone, and therefore it probably needs to be either expanded or amplified or some combination of both. We thought that the new mission statement does not really reflect the academic core in its 2 sentences overall. We thought it can be better balanced to reflect the college as a whole, and the fact that there are, in fact, 4 schools within the college, which isn't really mentioned anywhere there. We also, when our very able student representative of our table brought up what some of the things she was thinking about when she thought of reading the mission statement as a student who is perhaps going to be thinking about coming to FIT. And we thought that that was a particularly good point, because what does that mission statement tell, for example, the prospective student or the prospective faculty member or staff member or administrator, maybe applying for a position here or what have you. So we thought that was an interesting way to frame all of that. We also thought, in terms of the definition of the college and what it does, there are some excellent examples of, for lack of a better term, boilerplate, which already kind of exists. Lots of language, even just in things like the language for job positions that sometimes go out, you know, in some of the current communications things, et cetera. So that's all something to think about. We also were a little surprised that both the graduate school and the library seemed to be almost completely absent from the vision statement overall, particularly in terms of the library and its role as a really central focal point for any kind of research that's going to be carried out at the institution. We admired very much the goals and the subpoints about, for example, turning FIT into this kind of very interactive and very energetic research institution, about bringing faculty members and innovators from without, about sending some of us back out into the world to share some of the things that we do. But you know, the traditional model, and I think it's still a very good one, for any kind of research has to build on a really fully funded, I guess, you know, sort of resourced institution like the library. And the library seems to not be mentioned that much at all, except maybe as kind of an interesting creative space where students gather, which is important. But research depends on resources, and resources have to be present, they have to be funded, they have to be supported in all those ways, and the library seems very central to that, I think. We also were interested in the idea of diversity, or maybe the better word here is inclusiveness, being included right up front in the mission statement, since it's become such an important part of the college's identity. We liked the idea of the shared experience very much, and we didn't say this at our table, but I think the idea of a first-year shared course is excellent, and I think that we would probably all agree. So I applaud that point being brought up by some of my colleagues. We understand this idea, particularly, we were just getting around to talking about building the college brand when we were called on suddenly to stop eating and come up here. And so we haven't quite finished our discussion, but one of the things that was interesting was that we were wondering where the word fashion has gone in a lot of the descriptions of the mission statement and also in the vision statement. We understand that, of course, the college is so much more than that, but there was a concern among some of the members at our table that we're losing something by making the word fashion really kind of invisible in this particular version. And maybe just 1 or 2 more points. There were some smaller points, too. I'm trying to keep my comments sort of on the general, on the higher altitude, I believe was the phrase that was used. We were thinking in terms of more financial support, some of the things we'd like to see, more financial support for study abroad. It was pointed out that although sort of amping up the international programs is an excellent idea, but the people that get to go on those, because it often falls outside the realm of traditional financial aid, are exactly the students whose parents or whoever can pay for it. And it might be a really good idea to kind of widen the reach out to make international study a possibility for every student, regardless of background here at the college. So that was one of the ideas that we came up with. In terms of sustainability, again, diversity, inclusiveness, we certainly applaud the mentions of it. We wondered if some of those could be slightly more visible and amped up a little bit. We also agreed that the liberal arts still has a central place, and we liked where it is for the most part in the goal in which it is mentioned. And I don't want to take up too much more time, so this really covers most of the points that we talked about, and we're actually still having our conversation when we'll continue it over dessert and coffee, assuming we're having dessert and coffee. Thank you.